Hello and welcome back to Home Somewhere Else. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after the whole fights and everything, and basically finally Chad and Fred going down the mountain after having to fight those monsters, and Bruce coming in to save them, and then apparently doing something with the monsters' bodies because they're dead now. I guess collecting their souls or maybe memories or something, and then putting them in fruit. I don't know what's gonna happen there. And then them parting ways with Mothak, who takes two of the fruits and just goes off somewhere else. And yeah, so apparently Chad and Fred are gonna be uh snowboarding down the mountain. I don't know how, but it's gonna happen apparently. But yeah. So hopefully Fred fesses up with some of the stuff that's been happening while Chad has been away, because if not, then that might be a bit, disappointing. But yeah, so why don't we just jump right into it? Not giving you a second to respond further, Fred motions his hands forward as if commanding an army to march, and with a small hop, you start moving downhill. Whoa, too fast! You completely forgot about Fred's weirdness as you cling onto the bark for dear life, the wind on your face causing your eyes to water and your stomach to tingle. Yet despite your panic, Fred's as calm as ever, guiding you down with slow and measured hand motions. You are, quite literally, surfing down the face of a mountain on a wave of roots. Despite your insistence on not getting wet, the rainy weather yesterday left plenty of mud in your path, so instead of water, both you and Fred are getting splattered in mud. Shame this thing didn't come with a windshield too, huh, Chad? Between the speed, the mud, and your exhaustion, you're panicking. Probably a bit too hard. In your defense, Fred is coming dangerously close to hitting stuff as he makes tight turns around trees. Ugh, slow down, slow down, slow down! In a panic, you lunge for Fred's feet, opting to cling onto those instead, since they seem to be more stable and easier to hold onto than the edges of the bark. Fred regards you with a warm smile, then returns his focus to the path ahead. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Just watch out where you touch, Chad. Just shut up! Shut up and slow the hell down! Haha, I promise to try to do at least one of those things. Unfortunately for you, it was not slowing down. What made it even worse was the setting sun made visibility fairly poor, but at the same time, it's actually pretty surreal. If you weren't going down the mountain so fast, it would actually be a fairly beautiful sight worth relaxing and taking in. Attempting to just focus on the tranquility around you to help stifle some of your trauma, you eventually realize that you must be getting fairly close to town. You peek out from behind Fred's legs to test your theory, only to see that you're very quickly running out of solid ground. Fred, stop! Hmm? Oh, that? You're gonna get us killed. Stop this! To your complete and utter horror, his response is only to grin and to speed up. Want to see a cool trick? No. I've already died once and it's not fun. I don't want to do it again. Despite your protests, you continue hurtling towards the edge. Fred, seriously, stop! Grab on, Chad! No. As you get close to the edge, you can notice that Fred bends down a little bit, pulling his arms back, and thrusts a mighty uppercut skywards, summoning a massive root right at the edge of the cliff ahead of you. It's angled upwards like a ramp. No! Your speed continues to increase towards it. You squeeze your eyes shut, and a moment later, you're forcibly whipped backwards, followed by the feeling of nothingness beneath you. You're probably clinging onto Fred's legs tight enough now to snap the bones. Why did I agree to this? I'm such an idiot. Fuck. What do I do? Quit being a baby and open your eyes, Chad. You initially refuse, but after several moments, you realize that you haven't crashed into anything, least of all the ground. Once you have this realization, you slowly force your eyes open. You're actually flying. Marimambo is just a bunch of tiny blobs in the distance ahead of you, and past it the warm orange glow of the sun reflects off the sea. That dull, almost intimate glow bathes the whole world in a peaceful yet somewhat somber light as the wind blows soothingly through your fur. Your grip loosens on your psychotic friend's legs. Whoa. As you gawk at the beautiful scene before you, you eventually realize that you're not falling fast at all. Glancing up, you see a gigantic leaf hanging above your head that's acting like a parachute. Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Do you do this often? From time to time, yeah. Since the forest is so dense, people tend to avoid it for fear of getting lost. So, since I know my way around, it's kind of like a safe haven for me. Oh yeah? I remember Kathy forbidding Thony to get into the forest. Yeah, that's good. People rarely make it any deeper than a couple 100 meters in, so we should be fine. That being said, we should probably land here soon and walk the rest of the way, just in case. Last thing this poor town needs is a UFO scare, too. Hey, Fred? Yeah, buddy? What are we going to do about Kathy and Thony? Don't worry, Chad. I know you're worried, but that's why I brought you out here today in the first place. What do you mean? Hold on. By controlling the size of the leaf parachute, Fred is able to speed up your descent, but still managing to keep it controlled until he lands near the top of the forest's upper canopy. After surfing through the tops of the trees for a bit, Fred finds a patch light enough to pass through, arcing his way down. He carefully rides downwards, using the branches below him like stairs, until you both finally fall back below the leaves. It actually seems to catch Fred off guard, and he hastily uppercuts to summon another angled branch to land on. Whoa! As you slide down the ramp, Fred seems to lose control, and before you know it, the bark beneath you splits and breaks, sending you both flying. Ah! Thankfully, you manage to land on some bushes, which prevents fall damage, while Fred gets tangled up in some branches and vines above. They can only bear his weight for a moment, and eventually they snap one by one, dropping him into the bush as well, sparing him any further pain. He takes a moment to collect himself, but after letting out a relieved sigh, he begins to chuckle under his breath. You join in since it's hard to deny that was pretty funny. Sorry. I always have a little trouble landing. Yeah, I noticed. Yeah. He sits up in the brush before hopping out and helping you out as well. He speaks well, helping you brush debris off of your head and shoulders. The reason we did all of this was because of Kathy and Thony. Remember how they said that Dusan changed suddenly and without warning? Yeah. What does it have to do with what happened today? Well, if my hunch is correct, then the only way that you'd be able to stand a chance against him was to gain knowledge and experience. Wait, are you saying that you basically brought me out here to grind for XP? XP? Oh, right. I did use a video game analogy before, huh? Well, not exactly, no. I wanted Bruce to teach you what you need to know to. He pauses, scratching at his head as he searches for the right words to use, eventually letting out a sigh. God, this is hard. To reuse your comparison, I wanted Bruce to teach you a foundation to actually gain XP on. Otherwise, it's kind of just like farming when you've already maxed level. I think. Very helpful, Fred. Thank you. He glares at you with his cheeks puffed out, and you can't help but laugh at the sight. I told you I was shit at this. I'm doing my best, okay? Sorry. Anyway, come on. He beckons you with a hand, and you both begin walking towards Marimambo once again. Alright, how about I say it like this then? The moment you awaken to your powers, you were doomed. What? What does that mean? I don't know if it's crossed your mind before, but what we can do is no ordinary thing. If someone ever finds out what we're capable of, it wouldn't go well. So you have two real options. Either you come to understand and live in harmony with your abilities, or eventually, inevitably, catch the attention of the wrong people and wind up as some fucked up guinea pig strapped to a table. That last sentence makes you a little nauseous. No thank you, I'm good. Yeah, so that's why I figured that it'd be better for us to go with the former. Learn how to fight, basically. And you're going to need to know that in order to be able to do something with Dusan. I Actually think I'm starting to get it a little bit. Well, this only scratches the surface. As hard as it sounds, Stoney said that he and Kathy are holding on for a while, which doesn't mean that we shouldn't hurry, but at least we have some time. We definitely should hurry. And that we will, buddy. Good. After more walking, you finally begin to recognize your surroundings. Before long, you're able to make out the distinctive view of the park's bridge ahead of you, and no smaller amount of relief surges through your body. Finally, you've made it back to the park's bridge. Scanning over the area, you can see a couple of people here and there, but nobody particularly young or in school uniform. It's probably pretty late then. A group turns their nose up at you as they pass, probably offended by how dirty you both are. They probably think that you're homeless. Even though you were definitely far less dirty than this during the brief time that you actually were homeless, ironically. Fred merely shrugs them off, though walking over to the edge of the bridge and leaning over. At first you think that he's just taking a break and looking down into the water below, but he keeps leaning further and further over until... Hey Chad, can you come here for a second? I need some help. Sure. You walk up next to him, peering over the edge to try and spot what exactly Fred is messing around with. No matter how hard you look, though, you can't see anything. It's just a river. There's nothing floating in it or... Whoa! Without warning, something shoves you from behind and you tumble forward over the edge, falling 2 or 3 meters down into the shallow water below. After scrambling back to your feet, gasping for breath as water pours off of you, you shake your head around, splattering even more all over the place. You blink several times as your brain tries to process what just happened, eventually turning your attention back upwards to spot Fred leaning over the railing, resting his head on one of his hands while grinning down at you. Whoops! My hand slipped. He snickers to himself while you glare at him, completely drenched and yet still fuming. What the fuck do you mean your hand slipped? That was a big shove, you jerk. And you do realize that I have a phone, right? It's not even mine. Kathy's going to be so... You begin digging through your pockets to pull it out and wave it up at Fred to enhance your point, but your heart sinks as you keep coming up, empty-handed. You mean this phone? Your attention returns to him, and he's idly waving a familiar-looking phone back and forth, that shit-eating grin still plastered across his face. Relax, buddy. You really need to have more faith in your old pal Fred, yeah? I know what I'm doing sometimes. With a chuckle, he pockets the phone and then, much to your horror, climbs up on the railing. Look out below! Wait, Fred, no! Once again, ignoring your pleas, Fred throws himself off the bridge, crashing down into the water next to you, almost like he intended to make the biggest splash possible, splattering your face with water once again. He stands up dramatically, throwing his head backwards and splattering even more water everywhere before running his fingers through his hair and looking over at you with half-lidded eyes. Heh, told you I'd get you wet. Oh, fuck off. You splash some water at him and he laughs, shielding his face with his hand, and finally dropping the forced sexy look. You're such an ass. What the hell was the point of all of this? Now I'm soaked, freezing my ass off, and you just destroyed both of our phones. Well, I figured since those monsters seem to sniff the air a lot, they were tracking you guys by scent. Well, Bontek's scent, more likely, though I'm not sure why. Either way, he was carrying you for a long time, so his scent was all over you. Though it's not a particularly bad scent, pollen-y with a hint of manly sweetness, fitting for a guy like him, I suppose. And someone or something might try to follow that scent back to our place. That, and we were totally covered in mud. I guess that's fair. A warning would have been nice, though. It would have, yes, but it's funnier this way. Oh, ha, my sides. You're a real comedian, Fred. Right. Anyway, I think we're good to go home now. Fred climbs out of the water, furiously shaking his whole body to get as much of the water out of his fur as he can. Afterwards, he turns around and extends a hand out for you, which you take. You mimic him, shaking yourself off as well, which quickly fades into a shiver as the cool night air wraps around your already cold, wet body. Alrighty, let's go. Sure. Sensing the tension in your voice, Fred's ears droop, and he scratches awkwardly at his cheek. Hey, look, I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have. No, it's just... our phones. That was a really stupid move, Fred. Oh, hey, no worries, look. He digs into his pocket once again and tosses your phone back at you, and you barely manage to catch it. Once you do, though, you see that not only is it pretty much completely dry, there's no damage to it whatsoever. Wait, what? How? How can your magic do that? Fred flinches, shaking his head quickly and putting his finger to his lips with wide eyes. You quickly realize your mistake and awkwardly duck your head, quietly apologizing under your breath. Anyway, that's not me. My jacket is just waterproof. Oh, that's actually kind of incredible. Man, what else have they come up with in the last 10 years, I wonder? Fred chuckles, shaking his head. More than you'd expect. Less than you'd hope, I'd wager. We're delayed enough, though. We're gonna catch a cold like this. You let out a sigh, handing your phone back over to him since you don't have a jacket infused with the magic of modern technology, and your pockets would probably destroy it. And whose fault is that? It's truly a mystery. He chuckles to himself while you glare at him, turning and beckoning you to follow with a hand wave. You both make your way back up to the bridge, passing over it and heading over towards the park's lookout. By the time you reach it, the sun has almost fully sunk below the horizon, banishing the intimate orange glow and plunging your surroundings into darkness. Darkness that is soon banished by the park's lamps blinking to life around you. You continue out of the park onto the street, in the direction of the cafe. So, waterproof pockets, huh? Do those come in handy doing, whatever it is that you do? Sometimes. After doing it for long enough, even something super situational could suddenly become handy, so it's nice to always be prepared. Jeez. Just how long have you been doing this stuff anyway? Like 2 years? Try 9. Oh, wow. No wonder you're so experienced. Heh, yeah. And imagine all the experience that I have in bed now, too. Why are you like this? Heh. Fred's laughter echoes out over the mostly empty streets, and all you can do is sigh. The rest of the walk back is made in silence, arriving back at the cafe after what feels like years away. You approach the front door, but as soon as your hand lands on the handle, Fred interrupts you. Nope, not that one. Let's try the door in the back. Why? Because this door's locked, and I don't have the key. But the back door isn't locked? Oh, no, it is. But I do have that key. Why? I think Jenny said something about how the front door should only be opened by the manager or something. Maybe it's symbolic. Or maybe she's just a little crazy. Yeah, okay, fair. With a chuckle, Fred leads you around into the alleyway on the building's right, producing a set of keys from his pockets. He opens the door here and pushes inside, holding it open for you, shutting it and relocking it once you're both in. Looking around, you notice a door to your left and ahead of you, and some stairs on the right. Oh, okay. This door leads outside, then. Geez, I really need to make Fred or Jenny give me a tour of this place. Fred goes upstairs and you follow. Once you reach the 3rd floor, Fred walks over to the apartment door, stopping for a moment to look back at you. Follow me quickly to the bathroom. We don't want the whole floor getting wet. All right. Fred opens the door with another key in his keychain, and you both enter. You shut the door behind you, and then both quickly make your way to the bathroom. Alrighty, in the tub, chop chop. Okay. You climb into the tub with Fred right behind you. As much sense as that makes, considering the circumstances, the realization that you're now in the shower alone with Fred has your heart rate starting to increase. Fred turns on the water, letting it run and warm up while he unzips his jacket, pulling it off and dropping it over the shower's sliding glass door. Without any hesitation, his shirt and his pants follow. What are you doing? Well, walking around in soaking wet clothes kinda defeats the purpose of us racing into the bathroom, doesn't it? Speaking of which, hurry up and strip. All right. Well, what do you mean, well? I can't exactly wash your clothes with you still in them. You don't exactly need to be here while I take them off. But I do exactly want to be here while you take them off. You've already seen me naked, Fred. You are perfectly capable of waiting for them outside. Yeah, but if I did, I wouldn't be able to do this. Fred closes the short distance between you in a single step, suddenly seeming 10 feet tall as he stares deep into your eyes, his muzzle practically touching yours. His warm breath tickles at your nose, sending a shiver down your spine. He reaches a hand up and... Wait. Your face heats up, and you instinctively clamp your eyes shut. Memories flooding back into your mind of the exact sensation. Fred used to love teasing you like this back then, didn't he? His hand rests on your chest, and after a moment, he begins to unbutton your jacket with extreme care. Fred, what are you doing? Your eyes hesitantly open up once again, and the first thing they land on are his firm pecs. You frantically drag them away, only to look up to his face to see how intensely focused he is on the task at hand, which makes your face even redder. With a playful smirk, he finishes undoing your jacket, gently guiding one of your arms out of the sleeve, followed by the other. There. He intentionally is keeping his voice low and breathy, and after draping your jacket over the door, he turns back to you with that damn smile on his face. I can take my clothes off on my own, you know. I know. I just like to tease you. I can tell. His hands return to your chest once again, and a part of you tells you to bat him away, but you just stand there, letting him do his work in peace. Inevitably, your eyes begin to wander back down his body, admiring his musculature, your heart by this point pounding furiously inside your head. As they trail down far enough, you notice that he's finishing undoing your shirt. You take it upon yourself to remove your shirt yourself while Fred starts folding up the already removed clothes and piling them up. Once you take it off, you hand it over and Fred folds it as well, adding it to the pile. Fred then grabs your undershirt from the bottom and tugs it upwards. Again, some part of you wants to stop him, but you merely raise your arms above your head and let him remove it, peeling the last layer of filth away, finally exposing your bare chest to him. The shirt continues to drip in his hands, so he wrings it out before folding it and adding it to the pile. Almost on autopilot, you move your hands down to your pants and... Okay, I'll get to work while you take a shower. Sound good, buddy? You freeze, looking back up, blinking at him as he's already moving to step out of the tub. Wow, Chad. What were you trying to do there? Fred looks away, focusing on opening the shower door while you remove your pants, which land with a wet splat on the floor of the tub, leaving you just in your boxers. Fred goes to step out of the shower. All right, I'll... Wait. You stop him by wrapping your arms around his stomach from behind, pressing your head into his back. For the first time, it seems that he's the one frozen in place. Fred. Yeah? He doesn't fight against you at all, balancing himself with a foot on the edge of the tub and a hand on the door. Thank you. For everything. Your grip tightens on him a bit, and as a soft smile crosses over his face, he rests one of his hands on top of yours. You're welcome, Chad. I really do care about you, you know? I'll always be there for you. Got it? I'll count on it. You finally let him go, and he seems a bit sad about it before finally fully exiting the shower. Alrighty, boxers too. Okay. Your mind clouded in a pleasant haze, you slip your thumbs under the waistband of your boxers and drop them without a second thought, fully exposing yourself. You kick them up into your hand and give them to Fred. Thanks. I'll have something to sniff next time I... Fred. Just kidding. Or am I? Don't be a pervert, Fred. Besides, I doubt that it smells like anything but murky water anyway. Well, we won't know until we find out, will we? With a familiar playful grin painted across his face, he slowly lifts your underwear to his face. Dude. He laughs, stopping long before they get close enough to his face and adding them to the pile. I'll bring you a towel in a minute. Can I leave it on the toilet? Yeah, that'll be fine. Thanks. Have fun, Chad. In the shower? Just take your time. Relax, you know. The water's probably plenty warm by now, so... Sure, I guess. Fred nods, picking up the pile of clothes and heading out, closing the door behind him. You close the shower's frosted glass door and turn back to the faucet, pulling the stopper that activates the shower head. Soon, comfortably warm water pours down over your sore, aching body. Today sure was quite a day. You begin to clean yourself, careful not to apply too much pressure on the more tender parts of your body. At least the warmth is helping your muscles relax. Bruce almost killed me. Monsters, Mothic, even freaking surfing downhill through a forest. It's just too much. And it worries me that I can't see things getting any easier. Didn't Fred say that he usually gets Bruce to do the explaining? Does that mean that this has happened before? Doesn't that kind of imply that there are others with powers? If so, they must be good at hiding it. What did I get myself into? And Fred said that we'll be back tomorrow? Is he serious after everything that's happened today? Monsters. Magic. Fred. I just don't know what to think about anything anymore. Once your mind finally frees itself from itself, you realize that your autopilot had taken over and you were already clean. You shut the water off and step out, finding that Fred must have delivered your towel while you were lost in your thoughts, since you don't remember hearing the bathroom door open and shut again. Unfortunately, it seems that the towel is the only thing that he left. With a sigh, you wrap it around your waist and head out of the bathroom. You make it back to the living room, finding that mercifully the fireplace's warm, crackling glow has filled the space with a pleasant ambient heat. Fred is still in his boxers in the kitchen, though. It looks like he's just done preparing food. Hey, just in time. Why are you still naked? Well, our clothes just finished drying, and it's just us here, you know? Nothing wrong with a couple of dudes hanging out in their underwear, right? It's a shame, though. Just a few minutes faster, and you would have seen an entirely new monster. Good God, Fred, seriously? How have you gotten so used to this that you can't even crack such lame jokes? Heh, sorry. It's just, you know, after 9 full years of this kind of stuff, joking about it is one of the few ways to keep yourself sane, you know? It's not that I've normalized it per se, just... I guess you could just say that I'm jaded is all. Fred grabs some bowls from the counter and brings them to the small table next to the fireplace. By the way, your clothes are dry now too, so feel free to get dressed. Oh yeah, thanks. You head over to the fireplace, finding your precious undergarments nice and warmed up by the crackling fire. You put them on quickly, then turn back to Fred. Fred acknowledges you with a nod, then pats the spot next to him on the couch, which you move to fill. Before you reach your spot, though, Fred continues talking. It's not like I get to fight the monsters every day. Or every month. But it's common enough, especially since I'm usually just helping Bruce out with them. Not that he really needs my help, but lending a hand can't hurt, right? Ah, I see. You sit next to Fred, your leg accidentally brushing against his, since you sat fairly close. He doesn't seem to mind, though. Well, can I at least ask some questions? My head's still spinning from all of this, and I'd really appreciate something to help make sense of it all. Sure, go ahead. But do know that there are some questions that I won't be able to answer. Not because I don't want to, but because you can't. Yes, thank you for understanding. But hey, let's eat in the meantime. Don't want it to get cold. I was gonna cook, but apparently Jenny left us our lunch here just in case we came back. You involuntarily cringe as you reach out and grab your food. Oh boy. She was probably pretty mad, huh? We kinda kept her waiting. Her handwriting on the note was still legible, so she wasn't murderously angry. But she went out on a dick hunt, so I think that helped her keep her cool. Wait, what? Yeah, she went out on a date with a guy from the hardware store. I don't really blame her, considering the circumstances. Yeah, seeing as we said that we would meet her at lunchtime, and it's a night. Anyway, she got us poke bowls. Think, sushi, but in a bowl form. Kind of. Ew. Ew, sushi, ew. Ah, I can kinda see that now that you mention it. It's super colorful, looks yummy. Gross. You take your first several big bites in rapid succession, as the smell of the food reminds you just how hungry you are. Seems you were not the only one, as Fred does the same. After scarfing down a large portion of it, your food frenzy settles enough to let you finally continue talking. So, in order of priority, I guess. Do we have to worry about the monsters? No, not at all. We haven't had any trouble while living in Maramambo so far, right? Right. Bruce handles them usually. He's pretty good about it. Probably wouldn't have had much trouble with the ones today either, but I kinda screwed up today. But I'll have time to apologize tomorrow, hopefully. Okay, that's fair. Next, what are our next steps when it comes to Kathy and Thony? I can't help but worry. Nah, I get it, don't worry. For now, we just need to learn more about Dusan. From what you've told me, I'd be willing to bet that he's been influenced, too. Influenced? Has powers like us, basically. Though we don't know exactly to what extent, so that's why we need to be careful. Either way, people usually don't have a complete personality shift without something shady going on, so it's worthy looking into no matter what. Can't you just do something about it? What about Bruce? Bruce doesn't care enough about the ongoings of us mortals down here at the foot of the mountain. He usually just stays up there, only coming down sporadically and for reasons that are specifically not helping us. Well, what about you? Smacking him around with vines isn't exactly going to achieve much towards actually helping. That's why I want to look into him more. Hell, even if we do find something big, he may still be out of my league entirely. Then, what about Kathy and Thony? I'm sure they'll be alright for the time being, but if things got from bad to worse, we definitely could have to do something about it. We can always check on Thony in the mornings and ask him how the situation is going. Alright. Fred nods, letting out a long yawn in between bites of his waning meal. No matter what, though, never use your powers in public where other people can see. Don't even tell anyone about it, not even Jenny. Got it. Like, for example, that night that you went back to your house, if I hadn't come after you, those guys could have found out or worse, shot you to death. Well, they already tried the shooting part. Wait. How did you manage to jump over the... Fred just looks at you, a bemused, very patient look on his face. Oh. Well then, what about the door? Fred continues to munch while still looking at you. Ah. So then, does that mean that the whole faucet clog thing the other day was magic too? Didn't you just say that we shouldn't use our powers in public? Fred gulps down his last bite, setting the now empty bowl back on the table before looking back at you with a grin. Well, why do you think that I made you step out? But I found some fresh roots and leaves on the sink after the water cleared. His face immediately falters, and then he awkwardly looks away, scratching at his cheek. Oh. Whoops. Yeah, I should try to be more careful about it. But I mean, seeing as you didn't bring it up at the time, you probably just thought that it was related to the clog, yeah? Pretty much, yeah. Nice. Still, I'm probably fairly lucky that it was you that noticed it. Either way, though, always keep this very pertinent saying in mind. Do as I say, not as I do. Haha, yeah. Okay, so what about when Dusan beat the shit out of me? Remember how I healed your foot? Yes. It was like that, but your whole body, and I didn't exactly have the privacy of a forest to just do whatever, so I had to scavenge for the stuff in secret and apply it to you in the bathtub. And even then, it wasn't just as simple as gluing a bunch of leaves to you with a sap and wiggling my fingers. Since I have such intimate control over plants and the like, I can sort of use them as extensions of my own body. For instance, if I pump some of the sap into your body, I can use it to get a feel for what your insides are like. Kinda like an x-ray, but more detailed. Isn't having sap in your bloodstream like really bad? I feel like that's speedrunning a heart attack. I mean, yeah. If I just injected sap directly into somebody, it wouldn't be good. But with me, it's magic. He wiggles his fingers mysteriously at you, and you just roll your eyes at him while he chuckles at his joke before continuing. Anyway, once I get a feel for what needs to be done exactly, I basically used a bunch of plant-based medicines amped up with magic to speed up your healing process. Like penicillin, for instance. You know what that is, right? Yeah, it's some antibiotic, right? Yeah, derived from certain types of mold. Naturally, with my magic, I can culture special versions that can do a lot more than just fight off bacteria, different from the process they use to make the medicine in hospital labs. I basically just did stuff like that to help you reset your ribs, close up any cuts, repair internal damage. I think you get the idea. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it wasn't easy. It took a lot of energy to do it all, but since it's for you, it was all worth it. He flashes you a grin and a wink, and you inadvertently blush and look away, chewing on the last bits of your dinner. Superficial injuries, on the other hand, like your burnt foot, are child's play in comparison. Like you saw, I can deal with those in a matter of minutes, if not seconds. Oh, I see. You know, that made a lot of sense. How the hell are you so bad at explaining other stuff? Well, I spent years practicing, studying, and understanding my own powers specifically. Not necessarily on how they work or their origins. But Bruce does know about all that stuff. Even if he does, I'm still a little anxious about going back to see him again. Relax, but it'll be fine. Anyway, was there anything else before we go to bed? You finally finish with your own food, placing it down on the table as well while you shake your head. Nah, I think that's enough for now. There's still a lot that I don't know, but at this rate my head's going to pop. I actually have a question for you if you don't mind, Chad. Yeah? With everything that's happened, you coming back to life, working for Jenny, meeting Kathy and Thony, and now your powers? What's your objective? Your question catches you off guard, freezing you in place for a moment. Fred watches you with a curious stare as you ponder your answer, eventually offering him an uncertain shrug. Well, I really haven't put much thought into it. Everything's happened so fast that I haven't been able to stop and process all of it. In 1 week, I lost my job, got evicted, basically got adopted by Kathy and Thony, met you again, got a job with Jenny, discovered that I somehow have magical powers, and almost died. Today, I almost got killed again, met a big creature that I definitely have never seen, and got to know that, apparently, that there are some monsters going around that almost killed me, by the way. At first, all that I wanted to do was try to have a normal life, get a job and try to rent some place to stay, and that's it. But clearly, life had other plans for me. You can always move to another city and try again there. I can take care of Kathy and Thony and help you get to... No. There's no way that I can abandon them, especially after all of this. I already owe Jenny a lot, and beyond that, there's still things that I need to do here in Marimambo too. Like, I need to find out what happened in those missing 10 years. I want to know what happened to the people that I used to know. And, honestly, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't like having powers. At least somewhat. So, I'd like to learn how to use them too. Okay, so in order... He begins counting out on his fingers. Get to know your powers to be able to save Kathy and Thony. Get back on your feet, Get to know what happened to the people that you knew here and understand what's happened in those 10 years. Not necessarily in that exact order, but yes. No, at this point, I need to try to understand more about you, Bruce, and the monsters too. Well, assuming everything goes smoothly, I promise that I'll help with that. Because, oh boy, is there a lot to tell. You try to respond, but are interrupted by a yawn, which Fred mirrors. Yeah, I guess there is. But we can worry about it all later. Let's go to bed. Yeah. Honestly, I'm amazed that I made it this long. I'm exhausted. Did you sleep well last night? I can definitely sleep on the couch if you want. The other room doesn't have a bed. You stand up, looking back at him with a smirk and a firm glare. Don't make me say it. You extend your hand to Fred, but he doesn't move, staring directly into your eyes. Say it. Your cheeks slowly begin to heat up once more. You can. Sleep with me if you want. Nah, I'll just sleep on the couch. What? Yeah, I think it'd be better for me to stay out here. I don't want to disturb you or anything. You glare at him, and he stares up at you with an obviously fake, sympathetic look on his face. You... What is it, Chad? Is there something wrong with that arrangement? Damn you, Fred. What? He's so obviously toying with you now, and as much as you want to smack him or call his bluff, you swallow your pride and extend your hand to him more firmly, your cheeks glowing red at this point. I want you to sleep with me. He stares up at you, proud of his accomplishment. He tenderly takes your hand, giving it a firm squeeze as he stands up with your help. Well, when you ask like that, what kind of monster would I be to refuse? I hate you. He chuckles, booping your nose with a finger. Let's go to sleep already, muscle doby boy. Fred ruffles your hair, and it's impossible to deny that you really enjoyed it, but you still look away shyly. Okay. Fred nods, holding tightly on your hand as he pulls you away towards the bedroom. Once you get inside, he flicks off the lights and leads you over to the bed, but before you lay down, he stops, turning to you once again. Also, Chad? Just because there's a lot going on with the monsters, powers, and everything, doesn't mean that you still don't have a normal life, you know? What do you mean? I mean, just look at me. I still have a job, travel sometimes, hang out with Leonard from time to time. Wait, he's still around? He nods, finally guiding you to a bed, which you gladly go along with as you continue to hold your conversation. Yeah, from time to time, when he's not occupied with his band. As you nestle under the sheets, Fred flops in next to you, laying down sideways and resting on his arm while looking at you. He has a band now? Also, ready for me to blow your mind? He's Jenny's brother. Wait, what, really? Yeah, and they're really similar too. That said, most of her siblings are, but don't tell her I said that. I won't. Or will I? You finally take the upper hand in your banter with Fred, actually getting him to look a little worried. Don't. She'll slap my tits real hard. Unfortunately for you, he recovers quickly, even cupping one of his pecs for emphasis. Just reach out and touch the other one. He won't mind. You shake the thought away furiously, simply nodding along before turning your head towards the wall to hide your blush. Yeah, I know how powerful Jenny's slaps are. Yeah. Silence fills the room now, and after a minute, some shuffling behind you tells you that Fred probably lay down all the way as well. So... We're just, gonna freeze to death tonight, huh? You do realize that you are equally as capable of snuggling up, right? You make a solid point. You chuckle, looking back over at him. You grab Fred's arm and drag it towards you. Come here, you big dumb dog. He wastes no time in heeding your command, passing one arm underneath your neck and replacing your pillow with his bicep. You carefully guide his other hand down to your stomach, and as soon as it makes contact, you're squeezed close. Fred's soft fur swiftly banishes the cold of the night, especially once he starts to tangle his legs with yours. He lets out a small, satisfied chuckle, idly rubbing at your belly. It sends a tingling sensation across your whole body, but the feeling is far from unpleasant. Good night, buddy. Sweet dreams. You too, Fred. Thanks. You both close your eyes and Fred's soft, rhythmic breathing lulls you quickly towards sleep. Despite all of what's happened today, with Fred's strong arms wrapped around you like this, you finally feel wholly safe and protected. You could definitely get used to sleeping like this every day. To be continued. Wow, that took a long time. So, they're finally out of the forest, thankfully. They're finally back in town. Although they're apparently going to go back. So, I guess Bruce is not going to try to kill you now. Now that, you know what's going on. The fact that Mothik apparently likes you. So, he can't go after you now. Without, getting an earful from the moth and probably Fred. Still don't know what his problem was with with Chad. He right there, right above Jaden. What was I saying? But yeah, so it seems that the monsters were probably like corrupt forms of people. Maybe either people that got powers and couldn't control them, or maybe like people that were corrupted by something else, and that turns you into whatever that is. It turns you into a monster or something. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on with that right now. So I'm assuming in the next chapter, because this is the end of chapter 2, I think, we'll find out what's going on. And hopefully also find out what's going on with Dusan. Maybe what we'll be able to do with him. And what else? What else do we have to unpack? Obviously, Chad and Fred are getting very, very, close. So I'm assuming that the relationship is only gonna blossom more. I kind of thought that there was gonna be something involving Mothik too, but I guess not. What else? Apparently they're very comfortable being naked around each other, or like almost naked. Obviously that one rabbit was Jenny's brother. I mean, they kind of looked alike. What else? Trying to remember what all happened. They apparently like sushi, which is super gross. Fuck sushi. I don't like raw fish. I don't like fish in general or seafood. It's fucking gross. What else? What else happens? It's very long. It's midnight already. I've been reading this for 2 hours. I mean, it'll probably be shorter than this, than 2, but still. What else happens? I'm curious what they do when they kill the monsters, or if they have to kill the monsters, if like what they extract is the soul, and then they just put it into a berry that either they replant or, just for funsies and they collect it. I wonder if what happened to them also happened to Dusan, that he became infected with something that, made him like be impervious to damage and also have a, personality change. I wonder also what their obsession with Chad was, because even though Fred was fighting one of them, as soon as, Chad showed up, they was like, oh, let's attack him. What else? What else happened? Honestly, I can't think of anything else. So if you can think about it, write it down in the comments. And thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Home Somewhere Else yourself, you can find it over on itch, and you can find a direct link to it from the Home Somewhere Else Twitter page, which will be linked down in the description, as well as the Patreon in case you want to, support the project and get early access to builds of Home Somewhere Else, as well as stories Somewhere Else, which will be eventually added to this, because you can see where it says extra content. Stories will be right here eventually. And but until then, you can find that all on Patreon, unless Zordy tells me to read another one and just post it. And I say that in the nicest way, but yeah, when he asks you to do something, it's more like he's telling you to do it. Again, I say that in the nicest way. Of course, I will help Zordy. Eventually, I will want monetary payment, though. Anyways, but yeah, so yeah, write down comments, and I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.